locked in last. It's been a while since we've seen this Kog'Maw Lulu lane. But it's certainly something that can be frightening and adds to the poke as well. I mean, Living Artillery, especially once you get level 16, is going to be able to join these shock blasts as far as poking out the opponents. Not to mention Gori just diving in face first to try and get that damage down with the distortion. I like Nongshim's composition. Genji's, though, looks extremely Genji, which, if you're a Genji fan, you're like, oh, look at all of this comfort. This feels fantastic. What did it cost us? Well, pretty amazing top side of the map for Nongshim, especially based on what we've been seeing here in the LCK.
It's Genji. If they win this 2-0 with this draft, it's the most Genji thing possible. I don't know what to tell you. It has... The only thing is it's missing Clit on aggressive jungle, as a lot of those were banned out. Clit on Diana is a bit of a different look. We'll still be able to play nicely to the mid and top side, but it does create a scenario that we see very often with Genji, because they love this Azir so much, which is kind of want to play for both your top side and your bot side, but you can't really do both. You know, you generally have to commit to either of them. And in this scenario, I'm hoping it will be bot side, especially when we saw how well Rascal was able to do in that lane previously, still spreading his impact across the rest of the map. Because if you don't put this Kog'Maw Lulu behind in lane, yes, Ophidial skills nicely, but into this comp specifically, I don't think it's that great.
Yeah, and we know the carry potential of a player like Dokdam. This is where he has to earn his title of best in the LCK right now. This is where he does it. Because this is a composition that will end up hinging largely around what this Kog'Maw can get done in the later stages. Although, maybe not, because Gori on the LeBlanc could also just take hold of this game by himself, and Nongshim are just going to rely on a lot of poke, a lot of subterfuge around this map as it goes on, because a straight-up 5v5 against what Genji have, yeah, no bueno. Don't do that. Sounds like bad news.
And that is the main problem, I think, for Nongshim, and why there is some difficulty in their execution, is that Genji has played this comp hundreds of times. It's a similar thing.
They've played this exact comp for, like, I don't know, 3 years?
Yeah. The
jungler changes, but the idea stays the same.
There's some, you know, there's some beauty. I think a lot of our teams in the LCK, especially some of the newer up-and-coming ones, Nongshim, Sandbox come to mind as well. You know that these they're the startups, they're the hip new thing, and Genji is just a humble woodworker that have been making the same beautiful statue or table or whatever you might prefer for a chair. I think a chair fits with Genji. Like, they've been making this beautiful...
They're the person that's still using their Nokia 33.
Yeah, why would you upgrade, you know? Like, what,
yeah, no, it's working just fine. Yeah. It hasn't broken yet. Why would I fix it?
Like, why would I want to go and surf the web? Like, what would they get me?
Yeah, and I can use my computer for that.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's indestructible. Battery's great as well. That's Genji, you know? And...
I don't need the internet on my phone for the same reason that I don't need a dishwasher in my backseat of my car. You know? I don't need it. I've already got a computer.
What?
Yeah, there was a joke that I didn't feel comfortable saying, and I tried to change it just a little bit to keep it appropriate, and it didn't quite work. So if you guys have actually heard the joke, it's a beauty. I think it's Mark Watson, phenomenal comedian from Wales.
I am not familiar, but I will not inquire further, because we do have the opportunity to talk a little bit about the early game with both junglers pathing towards bot side. As expected, early level's not fun for Rascal, but I fully expect him to take control back of this matchup, considering how comfortable he is in it. And I would love to see early flashes or cleansers forced on Dokdam so that Ruler and Life actually have some punish potential. And if Clit does a visit, that's a possibility, but I don't know how good that 3v3 is. And Diana early on really just wants to try and get to level 6.
Yeah, you want to try and just play it out as slowly as you possibly can. But it is dangerous, you know, we do call these comps pretty no-rush 20. But it is like, it's the Azir for BDD that really changes it, in my opinion, because he often gets lane priority in matchups that he may not necessarily normally be supposed to be able to do so.
Yeah.
That was a very difficult sentence for me to actually construct. I apologize.
We got there in the end. That's what matters.
It's
the
journey.
Journey. Oh, there we go.
We're on the same page. I like it.
Yeah. it's the end of our second regular split together.
Yeah. But it's only the beginning.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Of playoffs.
Many more splits to go. And also, playoffs, there's a lot more League of Legends.
You went a lot more
this
wishful than I. I was just thinking about playoffs, but I mean, like your angle more.
I mean, just, you know, why not more?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely down. Sounds like a good time.
Ruler doing a fair bit of damage here. He's Calibrum up against Dogdom. Running out of ammo on both of his guns right now. See what he rolls next. There's, yep, Gravitum coming on through here.
To the point where we're holding guns.
Yep, we are. Yep, there's the Infernum, as it generally is. Good. Okay, cool. I like how I say wonder. I'm pretty sure it's locked in.
What's your favorite gun?
My favorite gun?
For Aphelios.
Oh, for Aphelios. I'm like, I don't know anything about
it. Me neither. Oh, why would I ask that? No, Aphelios specific.
I did play Call of Duty 2 that one time, but that was a long time ago.
Anyway, continue.
No, I never played that. My favorite is probably Crescendum, because I like how the chakrams move.
It's just spinny. It goes so fast.
And you look like a Beyblade when you stack them all up. And I like Beyblades.
I don't feel like we have enough Beyblade champions. Like that do a spinny. We just have Samira and I guess Aphelios to a certain extent.
I mean, Sivir throws them.
Yeah, but they're more pizzas than Beyblades.
I mean, it depends if you use the sneaky skin or not.
Yeah, that's true. But even then, like, I can't really get that association out of my mind.
Yeah. Maybe, you know, Rammus is a blade on its side.
I guess he is, yeah. Never thought about it that way.
It
does make sense, though.
Yeah, you think of him as Bowser, but it's not. That's not how that goes.
Except in that one skin.
We do have a bit of a gentleman's agreement. You have to imagine that this does suit Gen G.
Oh, they're happy.
As Clid can pay a visit here to this bottom side. Peanut in perfect position.
Oh, this is a good counter, gang.
Yeah, potential counter. It's Gen G actually playing it very slow. Life looking juicy here. 50% health as Clid is going to walk into this brush and Peanut's going to vacate the area.
Yeah, with Prio, can't pick this one up. Peanut should get out of there.
Yep. Play going to get rid of the shield as Gen G also removed the vision. So Peanut, unfortunately, not going to get much return for his time investment.
Now you're 6. That's a win for Gen G. You know, Diana hit 6. Lee didn't do anything on the map.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
And you also might just be able to walk away with the Drake, which is going to go down a minute before the Rift Herald does spawn, so you will possibly be able to get into position for that one as well. As we've got Ruler going for a bit of a reset, currently 5 CS in the lead, as that wave is going to be pushing towards Nongshim.
That's the... Oh, I was actually like expecting him to just straight up run towards Herald, but it's a little early. Yep. But that would be nice. You know, set up the wave to shove and then run top. Try and help out the rest of your team instead. Depending on what Dogdom does with it, might be looking for a bounce into a rotation towards top. But this is the problem, is that whereas the top side for Gen G is incredibly strong, I think 5v5, even this early on, Gen G's comp actually does a lot more. Like, just because of the possible AoE damage that you have available as Ruler. Like, it doesn't single-handedly win team fights, but it's still a lot more.
Yeah, Hook gonna go wide. Good slow there onto life with the Glitter Lance. As Dogdom gonna have to back away as his W does wear off. Now you got Gen G just grabbing onto this wave, and they will reassert some control as Peanut immediately going to start off this Rift Herald. And I think the Gen G were always going to give this one up.
You say that.
Oh, they are all rotating, but this is slow.
Yeah, it's very
I would have very much liked Ruler and Life to just stay in that bottom lane. Grab yourself 2 plates and then not worry about it.
But I guess we're flipping it.
Yeah, well, BDD looking for his options. Still can shift some sands to get on over there. As they dive on in, there's the Emperor's Divide onto 2. Moonfall not actually going to catch them out. As Clid, he's going to get exhausted, gets the heal, flashes away. Good play as well onto Gori as Rich and Rascal are fighting off to the other side of this one. As Ruler with his chakrams just going to eat through Nongshim. Now Kellen is just going to be dessert, and Ruler picks up that kill. So yes, you do manage to grab yourself the Rift Herald, but at what cost?
And again, Rascal's early skirmishing as well is just impeccable, because that looked kind of lackluster at the beginning. It's a shuffle into only a single man getting hit by the Moonfall, but man, the subsequent collapse that Gen.G is able to find, getting gold on two of your most threatening characters. Rascal in terms of 1v1, the pressure that he should be having on Rich, and Ruler, self-explanatory really on that one. As this is where it looked fine, right? You pick up the objective, you're feeling good, and the enemy is a bit late on the rotation. And then this buys a lot of time. BDD's flasher is actually really, really nice. Yeah, Clint gets taken low, but he doesn't actually die. And this just buys time for the Angry Crocodile to come in.
Well, does he actually have a dice, is my question. Yeah. He wants to use it to get out of the way of Peanut. He's just going to wait it out and get the last second on that one. It is going to be this Rift Herald throwing itself into this outer turret top lane, so a lot of money over to Rich and Peanut up here.
Yeah, that's going to be first robot coming through, so nicely done there by Nongshim, bullying Rascal off. But all this does is equalize the gold. And Gen.G are possibly going to be able to make a play towards bot side as well. Kellen doesn't have Wild Growth available yet, and there is a big wave being set up to get shoved into the turret. Rich has TP available.
Yeah, Dr. doing his very best to try and get up here and clear out some of these minions. Yep, now just going to back away.
Medium-sized wave that probably gets cleared, so no action there.
It's hard to cast off the minimap sometimes, completely understand. It's like, oh, I can see all of these dots. This must be huge. It's like one siege minion. Oh, no.
He tried his best, okay? Yeah, he just wanted to actually siege the turret, and they wouldn't let him.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. Well, Ruler now in a bit of trouble. We'll take a lantern as Dr. by Arcane barraging.
And in terms of early game, I think it's been a huge win here for Gen.G. And this is not an end of the line at all for Nongshim. They still have insane amount of skirmishing power, and late in the game, there should still be the opportunity for Dr. to pop off. But I do gotta say, specifically into Diana and Azir, I feel like you're so reliant on your flash, even with the Wild Growth being available, because late game, those characters, even through Wild Growth, like, the problem is that they shove you into your own, into the enemy team, right? And there's nothing that you can really do about that. And I think BDD, in particular, later in the game is going to be doing an amount of damage, but Clint is really just set up for Ruler or BDD to just take over a team fight. And if you accelerate that Aphida's win condition, that's a very good look. Thing is, though, that the gold kind of spread and more on Clint, and I think this is fine. Diana can snowball really nicely, but Ruler not really, even with the kill, getting a substantial lead due to the global gold that was available for Nongshim. Second Drake, though, would set up very nicely, because this is going to be a relevant I say relevant cloud because
a relevant soul?
Yeah, but it's going to be a relevant soul here.
Hopefully it's Earth, Wind and Fire in order. I would love to groove tonight.
That would be nice.
We'll see whether that is going to be the case. Half expecting it to be an Ocean, though. Peanut now possibly in trouble as BDD not going to find the Emperor's Divide. However, it's going to be here to try and buy them some space. But the steal comes through, and now Nongshim are closing in. Gory able to get out of there as he is going to get pulled back and immediately explodes. Now Peanut going to safeguard his way out as Rascal. He's chasing after him. That's the stun as Ruler looks for the Moonlight Vigil and finds it. And there it is. The last Q is going to secure the kill. So yes, they lose a Cloud Drake, one of them, but now they have the opportunity of stacking up 3 Oceans, and also they get a bunch more kills. Gen.G really taking these skirmishes.
2 people tried to steal Ruler's kills, and he will not have it, Atlas. Those are his kills, okay? That's just the start of a Penta. It starts with 2 kills. You can't take those away from him. And we joke, but as you pointed out, that is not a trade you're willing to take as Nongshim at all. Overextending, and I think just Peanut going in there and dying, I think honestly that's fine. Like, it's not great, it's an okay trade. A single Drake doesn't do that much, but it does buy you more time down the line. It means that you have a lot more flexibility in how you want to play your macro later on, as opposed to being forced to opt into a Drake. But then to go in with everyone else is a huge risk, and it doesn't pay off at all, as Ruler is just standing there. Well, Beyblading, really. And no one that can stop him. And yeah, this was preemptive from BDD, and Peanut doesn't actually get denied. I think Life was looking for the flay. That's nice. But then this hook that comes through, combined with a really nice move throw from Clay that sets it up, in of itself is great.
Life really having a career-affirming game. As Ruler's like, nope, no you don't, Mr. BDD.
Yeah.
I have my Calorum queue, I'll be fine. Thank you.
And I want to draw attention again, and it's something that we talk about a lot, but I can't get enough of Rascal's early skirmishing on Renekton. And it's like, I think Rascal is one of the very few players in the LCK that really shows us why when Renekton's like high pick, then like he actually does things like this. Because there's been so many Renektons in the LCK that pick the pick and then nothing happens for 25 minutes, and then they try and frontline and then they die.
And I mean, let's be honest, that is sometimes Rascal, but then he plays some sick late game Renekton, and you're like, oh man.
Does it? How does he do it? We don't know, but he does anyway.
He just knows all of his matchups so well.
Now,
and he's just played this way too much.
Ruler is very fed.
Yeah, he's a scary boy.
And the good thing is that gold has also spread to the rest of Gen G, right? And if you look at item finishes, it's not the biggest leads yet, but it's more about how Gen G can push it here. And don't know if I'm loving going for an attempted steal, whereas BED is just bullying the hell out of Gory here.
Yeah, sends him home, actually, and that's going to mean that Shirley will belong to Gen G. As Rascal trying to pick up the minions underneath the turret, does so pretty comfortably. So the cross-map play not going to work out for Nongshim either. As Gen G once again playing their early game, late game composition and doing it in a way that confuses most, especially myself.
It's just so Gen G.
It is the most Gen G thing ever. But sometimes you've just got to love it, you know?
It's just the entirety of the series, right? It's so many of the key Gen G things has been
gets the flash. BDD gonna happily trade the Emperor's Divide for that.
And I talked a lot about the lanes. Might I draw your attention to now Peanut, he just got a level there, but he was 2 levels down. And
is that 10 camps in the lead for Clip?
Yeah, it's for the CS. And the thing about Lee is that, yes, he skirmishes very well, but Diana is one of the strongest scaling junglers that we have at the moment. And if you hit level 11 with a 30-40 CS lead and the Proto Belt, you're terrifying. And you're not at the point yet where Doctum is going to be able to do a lot. And I want to draw attention here. Doctum has also pivoted away from what we've seen a lot more, which is the Wits and Shieldbolt Hawkmow.
Yeah.
Might still go Wits End, to be completely honest, but has gone for the Gale Force for an added amount of survivability, right? Like, I don't generally
maneuverability,
yeah, which you need against Gen G, because there is a ton of people that are going to try and dive on top of you, and having the extra ability is really good.
Yeah, you also just use your Lulu as your shield bow, right?
Yeah.
That's sort of how this one works. I think if it was in a different composition with a Xin Zhao on Peanut, perhaps, then you'd still have to go shield bow because a lot of those wild growths will be on the Xin Zhao. But Peanut is very mobile on this Lee Sin as Gen G. Bit of trouble here, but Gori not going to be able to find the chains. Gen G just going to move themselves out as Rich going to boop Rascal away. Get some vision down onto the Crocodile, who just wants to get into the lane, man.
Nice spacing from Rich there. As the Eclipse as well, which makes trading for Rascal a little bit harder. As we will be going down. Last time we saw this, Gen G said, no, we're good, and just shoved it down mid. And that's exactly what's happening here. They have the Rift Herald available as well, going to take a short track, take over the enemy jungle, and might just get 2 turrets here in a matter of seconds, Atlas.
Yeah, this is actually huge. So this turret is going to go down. Can they get the inner as well? As they should be able to.
Yeah, I think they will.
Yeah, Sun turret goes up. So now Rich trying to get into position, but they're blocking as Gori going to find some chains, but not actually going to connect them as once again BDD doesn't find the Emperor's Divide. They do manage to take the inner turret, but now Gen G do have to try and get out of there. Gori trying to poke his way through, but the Sun Disc says no as Life takes a fair bit of damage there from that Shock Blast. But 2 turrets for 1 lone Ocean Drake. You'd probably take that.
You definitely do, especially with the late game power that you still have available to yourself as Gen G. It's not one of those games where, yeah, obviously you're a Nexon later in the game, not going to have the same kind of impact, but between Diana, Azir, and Aphelios, you're going to have plenty of scaling. And yeah, you can argue that some of the range might be hard, and if Nongshim do at some point regain momentum, then it's going to be really hard. Because once Nongshim are able to actually set up a vision line, and Gen G are going to have to face check, they're not the one who are forcing Nongshim to walk into them, right? Then you can't go for your hooks. And then your engage is either Clid, which can be really reliable. We've seen a lot of comms that just have Diana as engage, but it's also fairly telegraphed if enemy has flash.
It also relies on a flank a little bit as well, which is also going to be very vision reliant.
Yeah. I think that, but I've also seen Diana just out of like come from like what feels like 50 screens away between Flash, Protobelt,
the old
E1
problem,
and then E2, and then O, right? Yeah. So should be the case as Rascal.
Yeah, he's got the Dominus. Now he knows that he has this one. Rich puts up the acceleration gate, doesn't find the Shock Blast though, unfortunately, and he's going to flash over the wall. Rascal watches it and says, "Ha, yes, you better flash." Now I've got another exchange up here towards the top side. Peanut going to find the kick, but he's going to get hooked back. Good Wild Growth is going to come through, but he's thrown around like a ragdoll. Is now Rich in trouble. The Moonlight Vigil comes down and Ruler just says goodbye, Mr. Chase. Oh no, now Clid possibly in trouble, but he's going to try and go in and die on his own terms, and he does indeed do that. So we've just got fighting absolutely everywhere. The Q is going to miss onto BDD. Does have his Emperor's Divide, decides not to use it.
Atlas, today is a day of some of our old favorites making their way back into the LCK. The first series, it was Deft. Deft was, you know, I just haven't been feeling it recently, but let's show these kids how it's really
I think there's a lot of our veteran AD carries really saying, these young whippersnappers, let's put them in their place. As, Rich, not a young whippersnapper actually, but Ruler is still going to be happy to put him in his place.
And then this is, of course, from a deficit, right? You have less people available here, and here you see the value. Doglam actually really nicely able to use that ultimate, or the Gale Force rather, very offensively, aided by the Lulu. Not that the turn was really ever something that Clid was going to be able to get done with him already using his Moonfall in an attempt to take down Peanut. But that's a bit over-eager from Gen G, but does not really matter. Also, yeah, Rascal's behind. Does it ever matter with Rascal's Renaxin?
Does it
generally
feel
like
that
way?
Yeah.
And it might be different once Rich hit the transformation once more mana, and possibly could be a Serpent's Fang again. I do think it has a lot of value between the Fresh, again, Renaxin going for the Starix and Diana.
Yep.
As BDD.
Once again, going to throw out the Emperor's Divide. A little bit unfortunate, but breaks the chains as Gori just going to take an electrocute there. As it turns out, BDD doesn't need to hit the ult to do enough damage to deter Gori from being in this area, as he wants to eat some honey fruit, but he's not going to be able to, as Clid knows that the distortion is about to come through. Still going to throw it out. Ruler clearing out some vision here. So it feels like even though BDD has hit maybe like 1 out of 5 ultimates this game, I like that he's throwing them, and also he's still putting on enough pressure regardless.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him. He's got a couple of flashes for them as well.
This is looking like the classic BDD. Oh, Clid.
Yeah, chains are going to connect. As now we're trying to turn it into life. The God play comes through, and immediately both LeBlancs disintegrate. All right, write it down. Write it down, Chronicler. Get that life pog in there. That was so sick.
Ooh, baby. Well, Life also decided to show up today. Man, everyone.
The bottom lanes.
Everyone's just awake today.
Yeah. I mean, that's because this is crunch time. This is when you have to show up. And Gen G, they want that second place.
Oh.
And now they're looking more than ever like they're going to get it. Man, I have a lot of egg on my face because I predicted that Gen G were going to finish 4th, not 2nd.
I can't believe it. I thought Nongshim was going to be in today as well. And it still can happen. Let's not get too excited yet, because it is 2 Drakes against 2 with the one that is about to be taken. Nongshim still have a lot of late game power. We know they can turn fights. We saw them do it in the last one as well. And they do have a considerable amount of range. It wouldn't be the first time that Gori is in an 0-3-0 position and suddenly finds a triple on LeBlanc and turns into this unstoppable killing machine. But this is looking like old school Gen G. And I did not expect a 2-0 for Gen G here. I also did not expect a 2-0 for Humble Life, and we all know what that got us.
Do you remember what I said about my waters? Maybe they're working today.
I want to see this again.
Oh my god, it's so sick. Like max range as well. Oh my god.
나이스! 잘했다 정민아. 바탕 깨자. 괜찮.
Well, Ruler definitely happy with his support here today. Life's Thresh does have a great win rate just in general. I believe he's 75% on it so far this season. Also is denied it many, many times. Him and Kellen both, actually, certainly our resident Threshers, although Kerry did kind of take the spotlight away from both of them, with probably the best Thresh performance in one single game this season that I've seen in upward of 5 years.
You still can't top that. It was like there were 2 Threshers playing that game.
Yeah, no, that was like Harlem Globetrotters style, you know, like Mad Life 5 years ago type Thresh play. Really sick.
BDD going for his trademark Electrocute, Ludens.
Maybe it's more than
Mask. I've seen it. We've seen him do it before.
Yeah,
I've long stopped questioning BDD's choices on Azir.
Yeah, no, it's sort of like it's like Froggen's and Nivea.
He is
when he builds a Warmogs, you know that that's the right build. You know,
because BDD also played like I've seen him play like 15 different builds as well.
Yeah, and like 17 different keystones. Like more keystones than there are available.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it. I think that he utilizes Omni Stone, but then it's the actual the actual rune as well.
It's like it's an Omni Stone, but it lasts all game on the randomized rune. That's how it works.
That's just picking a rune with extra stats.
I mean, Azir does also just utilize quite a lot of them based on what you want him to do. Is Gen G just going to move up towards his outer turret, comfortably take that one down? There is a Kog'Maw doing a fair bit of work in that mid lane, but
shove again.
Yeah, Gen G just saying, all right, do you want to stay there? We will keep pushing. As they have information about what's going on here as Peanut dives on over, takes a fair bit of damage from Ruler on the back end, but they don't want to test their luck, especially when there's a Lee Sin with Kick Flash available. The outer turret is going to be taken. So, turret for turret, no one really finding a big advantage, as 3,000 gold is the lead for Gen G, with a composition that on paper you'd say is very good in the late game. They have a lot of champions that very much want resources, but I guess Rascal's happy to give some up over to Clid.
This King of Weeks out Renekton. He's just picking up some chicken left and right. He's just in a lane alone against Dogdom saying, hello, please don't attack me. I will clear the waves.
Yeah, sees a LeBlanc there on 0-3-0, and he's like, well, I guess Thornmail's what I'm doing. Yep. You don't blame him, although Docton will do a lot of magic damage as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he will. Between the Witsand and the Lulu.
Witsand and is the Rage Blade is going to be coming through as well.
And also there's just a lot.
And Living Artillery just in general.
Yeah. W as well, if I'm not mistaken, also gives additional magic damage.
Health damage, magic damage. Exactly right.
So much on the good old Corgi. If you can get later into the game, hit that free item mark, and Callan maybe picks up a second item as well, you turn into an unstoppable juggernaut. But again, I think that Guild Force is going to have to be used very, very well, because between Clid and BDD there is so much threat. I actually think that Rascal is like the one guy that in this game shouldn't reliably ever get on Dokdam. So that's good, at least. You know, that's something you don't have to worry about.
If he's getting on Dokdam, it's like, I want to get his cleanse. And then he does so and tries to take a land now. Because that's what I'm assuming.
Dokdam just kills you immediately when that happens. Yeah. But Rascal still has a lot of utility as...
All right, Dokdam just running towards Ruler. And Ruler in 2 auto attacks loses half of his health bar, which is something you'd expect. Now, possibly able to go back, grab his Infinity Edge for item number 3.
Oh boy. That is
a lot of damage.
Really big, because this is a sword point fight for either team here. Meanwhile, in top lane, it's just Rascal's just the memes like, meanwhile, Rascal was off on his own.
Yes.
In a lane, far, far away from the rest of his team.
This is really frightening, because Ruler has perfect weapons as well. Moonlight Vigil is available. BDD also with his ult. Moonfall's there. Teleport to come through. This Crocodile really wants to join this one. Oh, very close to Gory getting there. As, okay, Gen G say, all right, well, you know. Oh, the hook! Life once again! Peanut's going to flash. He does get wild growth, though, so it's a lot of resources invested as Dokdam trying to chase after them. He's very fast with this Lulu providing the speed as the chains are going to take the Crocodile for a walk as Gen G quite low. The Shock Blast actually starting to stick now.
And if you have just tuned in, remind that again, if Gen G win this game, if they win 2-0, they get a bye. That is a complete skip of the first round of playoffs. A basic guarantee for them as Rascal...
This could be big, as Rascal's going to get stunned up and taken down! Oh no, he wanted to be able to take the Lantern, but doesn't manage to, and now Peanut is going to get soul point for Nongshim. Gen G still with a slight advantage, but it is starting to slip. We've reached the Nongshim territory.
And here you also see the issue. Unless you want a hard commit, your pick is rather limited, right? Because you can't actually start up these fights. And now Rascal is getting into a point where...
you can't do this really by yourself.
Also, Rascal had the choice to live because he had stopwatch available. Could have stopwatched and then coordinated with the Lantern, but kept it. And I think that's fine because him dying there, it feels bad. But the Drake was gone anyway, and there was really not a way that that leads to a Baron in of itself. So it's not the end of the world, but it's more worrying because we've seen Gen G be in these positions where it feels like they should win, and then not make it happen. Now with the flash being down on Peanut, that's nice, but I want to see BDD get the targets that really matter. Because we've been talking about Dr. a lot, but just getting Callan would also be immense, right? Because just forcing the flash on that Lulu at the very least means that there is so much less survivability available once it comes to Gen G hard committing. And Gen G need to hard commit because they're outranged.
True. Need to find those flanks. And of course, if they get into the backline, it's game over. We've seen it already. As Ruler does have the most gold in the game, as you may expect. A lot of CS going over to Dr., but the 4-0-2 certainly going to help keep those coffers well and truly overflowing for the Aphelios is cleared. This is the kind of flanking position that we want.
That's the angle.
Moving forward, yeah, Kellen in trouble. It's exactly what you were talking about.
That's it.
Get onto the Lulu, and they've got the flash now. That means Emperor's Divide food for BDD for the next 5 minutes.
Sneaky ward. There we go. A little bit spotted in the very end. And as Gen G, you're just trying to force overextension, right? You want to maybe start at the Baron, not to actually do it, and you want to avoid as much poke as you possibly can, but just to force Nongshim to do something. If Nongshim are just sitting, relaxing, doing nothing basically, but clearing waves and shooting off poke, they're happy, right? Like they don't need to go anywhere. You can do an objective as long as they're alive. As long as they play defensively, Gen G's actual options are fairly limited. And that's where the clutch factor comes in, and that's something that BDD on the Z has traditionally brought. But for me, the real question mark is clear. How much can he do on the Diana? Because that is such a pivotal part of this Gen G comp. Without it, you get outranged, and it basically all comes down to can BDD 1v9. Because Ruler, fed as he is, for him to actually do damage is kind of hard into the Nongshim comp.
No, of course, especially with the weapons he currently has, but I think you're exactly right. He doesn't want to rely on having to land Calibrum Qs in order to actually play any part. I think Gen G need to get more vision around this Baron, though, because Nongshim are getting to the point where this Kog'Maw is just going to be able to obliterate Baron in seconds, especially if Rich is there with him. So, dangerous times. Cliff taking a bit of damage here. But here it is. Vision cleared. Gen G once again getting themselves into position.
I like this.
Baron immediately just going to get started up here. Ruler does so much damage to it. Peanut lands the Q. Can he get the steal on the Baron is going to be the question as he does get in there. It's actually taken by Ruler as now Peanut trying to keep himself alive. The Gore Drinker is massive. He stays alive for so long as Gory tries to get in there, but it doesn't work. There's the Emperor's Divide. Just picks up the Ruler. Sorry, the Lulu, as Rich is going to get taken down as well, and that's the Gen G team fight that we wanted to see, as now Docton's getting teleported on. The sad little bee himself, the epitomization of it, as he tries to kite out the crocodile, but he's sliced and diced, and the Lantern says no to the passive. Now Gen G looking to push up the mid lane, and this is the big turning point. I don't know if they can actually just straight up win, but maybe they'll go for it.
They might. It's 36 seconds till Doctom. I don't know if they have enough power. Baron buff is available as well. If they can keep the wave alive, I think they could just end.
Yep, they can tank this one up. This is ridiculous. Gen G will be second place.
No way!
At the end of it all. They could have been sixth. If this had have gone a different way, they could have been sixth, but the Nexus is going to get focused down. Ruler will be able to do it in the end. And it has been the uprising of our veteran 80 carries today. Really saying no to the younger gentlemen that have tried to challenge them all